Hello guys, how are you? This is a service call, a no-heat call. It happens every year. We have to bleed it, and I'm gonna show you how to bleed it through the supply instead of the return. The return doesn't have a shut-off valve, and the supply, it has a shut-off valve. So I'm gonna explain to you what's going on in a minute. So this is our boiler. It's a small boiler for 6 units. We have takeoff valves. We have 4 for second and third floor, and this is a small building, and 2 for the first floor. We have, let's see, I hear the pump running. Can you hear that? So the pump is running. We have 180 of temperature and 20 of pressure. So 180 temperature and 20 pressure, so that's pretty good. But one apartment doesn't have any heat. So those are my returns. I'm gonna touch them to see if they're hot. So I have 4 returns here, 4 pipes for the 4 apartments, and this is hot. This is hot to the touch, hot to the touch, and that's cold. So this apartment, it's cold. We're gonna check first if the valve is working, if the thermostat. Well, I just went upstairs and the thermostat is working. It's calling for heat, but now I'm gonna check if we have 24 volts here. So these are my 4 valves, and this is the one that is not working. And let's see, it's easy to move. That means they're calling for heat. So that means the valve has 24 volts and it's calling for heat because it's easy to move. See, if it was hard to move, maybe it didn't have 24 volts, so the motor wasn't open, but it's opening. See, it's on auto. When you have trouble with the valve and you want to supply water just for now until you get a new valve, you are gonna force these to the all auto position right there. But as you could see, it's very easy to move, so we're good. We have 24 volts. However, when I touch the pipe here, it's hot, but when I touch the return, it's cold. That means that it's air bounded, there's air, and it's not allowing the water to circulate the whole apartment, and it's not warming up that apartment. That apartment is in the 3rd floor, so air travels to the upper floors, and that's where it gets caught, and then the water doesn't circulate. So we're gonna bleed it, and I'm gonna show you how. So what we have to do, we have to bleed the system. We have to bleed that apartment only. Is the only apartment that has a problem with that. And so this is the supply, and that's the supply, and then it goes through the valves, and then it goes through the apartment, and then it comes back through those. If you see, those are coming from the apartment right here to the return, and usually the pump is in the return and is pumping into the boiler, and then goes again out to the apartments through the supply one more time. And we're gonna bleed. Usually the bleeding valve is in the return, and this is our return, and this is our valve. So we're gonna put our hose here, and we're gonna isolate everything. We're gonna shut the boiler off first, because you want it off, you don't want the pump running. So we're gonna turn it off. That's it. And now our pressure, we have to build our pressure, is very important. Right now I have 18 pounds of pressure. So what you have to do is go to the feed valve. This is our feed valve, and it looks like that. It looks like a bell. And that's supposed to, the water is coming from the water heater right here, this water heater, and then it's gonna go that way, that pipe, and then this one is gonna provide us with 12 pounds of pressure by design. If you want more pressures, like this building has a third floor, so you need more pounds of pressure, so you can, this screw, you can loosen it up to give you more pressure. I like mine about 20 pounds of pressure. So we're gonna force the water to increase the pressure. This gate is gonna open it up and bypass the 12-pound mechanism there. But can you hear the water? Yeah, so we're gonna leave it like that. And now what we have to do, remember, we're filling up the system with 30 pounds of pressure. Why 30 pounds of pressure? Because our safety pressure relief valve is set to 30 pounds of pressure. Can you see it there? I don't see it, but yeah, 30 pounds of pressure right there. If we go more than 30 pounds of pressure, the safety pressure relief valve is going to discharge water through there. So we want to keep our gauge at 30 pounds of pressure. Okay, now we have 30 pounds of pressure in the system. So now we are going to isolate it. Every valve you see, except for the supply. So this is, let's gonna shut this off. I just shut off the ones for the basement, and now there's 4 valves on the supply. This is the apartment we want to bleed, so we're gonna leave it open, and we're gonna close. We're gonna close all the other valves because we don't want the water to go through the apartments that are okay. We only want to force it to the apartment that we have problems. Because we shut the system off, we have to force it open right here. Because we have the power off, the valves goes to their normally closed position again. So we're gonna force it open, just the one we're gonna bleed. That way the water is gonna circulate. And now we have to, all those 4 valves, we have to close them. So we're gonna close these valves. And we're just gonna leave open the one that we need to work on. Everything closed except for that apartment or except for that zone that has the problem. Okay, so now we're gonna bleed. And we have a problem here. It's supposed to be a shutter valve right here to cut all the water off so the water doesn't go back to the system right here. So you're always supposed to have a bleeder and then a valve, but we don't have a valve, so that's gonna be a problem because our water is not gonna go through here. It's gonna go back to the boiler and then again to the supply. So we're gonna bleed it backwards. Now this is the supply, and we're gonna use that garden hose silicock there. And this is the valve that is gonna isolate everything. So remember, you need to stop the water from going back to the system. If there was a valve here, we shut it off and then we bleed through here, but we don't have this one, so we're gonna do it through the supply. Now remember, the boiler is nothing but pipes. It doesn't know when you open up the system somewhere, because we have 30 pounds of pressure, the water is gonna go out through there. The boiler doesn't know if it's the supply or the return. So, and we're gonna force the air that is in that apartment through the supply. Usually it's through the return, but we don't have a shutter valve, and we do here in the supply. So we're gonna shut off this one. There you go. And then we're gonna place our hose there. So we're gonna remove it from the return. And we're gonna put it here in the supply. Okay, so there you go, that's close. So let's recap. You wanna pressurize your system to 30 pounds. If your safety relief valve is set to 50, you can go higher to have a lot more water to be bleed through that pipe, through that hose. We shut all the supplies except the apartment we are interested in removing the air, and we shut off all the returns to all the apartments except the one, oh, we need to do this too. There you go. These are the basement floors. So everything is closed except the apartment we're interested in. So now I'm gonna open up this valve here. And I put a bucket here, and you're gonna hear the water, the bubbles, when they come out. Remember, we have to keep the pressure off, so as I'm bleeding, I'm gonna open this up so I have more available water in the system, because right now it's actively being bled. Look at that air. Look at the hose, it's having convulsions. That's the air. That's air in the lines. Look at that. You have to stop until there's no more air. Okay, so after bleeding for a couple minutes, now I'm gonna touch my pipe. This was cold before, remember? Oh, wow, now it's very hot to the touch. That means that the air was removed and the water took its place. So now that apartment, it's returning hot. So this one here, it's the one that is open, and it's very, very hot to the touch. That means the water pushed, the new water pushed the air out through that hose, and now we're good. So we are gonna go back to normal. I have to open up all the valves that I closed. Don't forget to open all of them, otherwise they call you back. And this one that's closed. Remember, if I had this open, then the water just circulates and it doesn't do anything. It has to be the supply or the return closed, shut off, so the water doesn't go back to the boiler. So now we're gonna open this one. There you go. And we're gonna open all of them. These are our supply valves. We have to open it now. This was open because that's the one we worked on. So now these ones we have to open. There you go, open, open. And this is the valve we worked on. So now we have to return it to automatic, remember? Otherwise it's gonna be hot all the time. So you want to return it to automatic, because when they call for heat, it's gonna open, and when it's satisfied, it's gonna be closed. So make sure everything is open. Now we're gonna check our pressure. I like this boiler to be at 20 pounds. So we have 20 pounds with 180 degrees. We're good. So now we're gonna turn it on. And it's gonna take a couple minutes so it goes through the safeties, and then it's gonna turn on if somebody is calling for heat. And now we're gonna remove our hose bleeder. Remember, this has to be closed. This is closed, and then we are removing this guy. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if it was beneficial to you. Thank you so much.